My name is Micah Fallon. I am a web designer. I really love hockey. That's probably my favorite sport, big time, from Michigan, so northerner. I got two older brothers, so I'm the youngest, but I'm the biggest. When I was growing up, God was, He was everything. And now it's a lot more of what I understand as what somebody would come up with to help them answer some questions that are definitely a lot more difficult to answer. The hinge point was actually when I dated a Mormon girl, and her beliefs in comparison to mine made me ask some questions about her religion that I wasn't asking about my own. And when I realized that, it kind of pushed me away from my own religion as it pushed me away from hers. I'm very interested. I'm intrigued by it, definitely. It's nice that there's at least people trying to open their minds to struggles people are actually going through. At very least, I'm hoping that there's some validation for some questions that I have, and instead of just people telling me, like, why don't you already know that answer because it's right here in the Bible kind of thing.
My name is Roger. I do script coaching. I also have an emergency backup services company. Brought up in a Christian environment, very conservative Christian environment. And then became an atheist in 1980. I'm a graduate student in philosophy, and I do work in philosophy of logic, artificial intelligence, what is a person? Oh, I don't know, I'm very skeptical because I know that it has some kind of religious or spiritual connotation, and usually that precludes any kind of truly thoroughgoing scrutiny of the core beliefs. And that's where I like to start.
My name is Alyssa. I am a server at Olive Garden at the moment, and I'm also going to school for psychology. I was raised conservative Baptist. At this point, I kind of identify as a universalist. I see it more as just like God can be reached through religion or through living a good life or whatever else because like we're His creation and He loves us. I'm really excited to hear these different perspectives today. And to hear where everybody else is coming from and maybe get down to some of the bigger questions about God and about life.
My name's Christian Rodriguez. I am a musician. I've kind of always gone in and out of belief. My parents are still very devout, and they believe that, I'm just trying to find my way, and they've always taught me to think for myself. Today, I have agnostic beliefs. I'm really interested to see if some of the questions we have can be answered.
My name is Jim. I'm a merchant mariner. As a merchant mariner, I work on a ship and we go all over the world. Well, as a child, I was raised Roman Catholic, and I went to Catholic school from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. God was definitely involved in my life a lot. Working on a boat, you kind of get away from standardized stuff, period, including religion. Coming to the Q place, I am kind of a little bit nervous. Maybe nervous about, where I am with God. Maybe I have a lot of work to do now. Maybe between my questions and their questions, I'll be able to find God's place in my life again, my place with God again.
My name is Missy, and I am a homeschool mom. I was actually raised in a Christian home. We prayed at meals, and that was it. And our education about God was really through Christian school, and I think it's really important to be able to have a good environment like this where we can all just talk and share and learn from each other.
My name is Jared. I am a college student. I was raised a Hellfire and Brimstone Baptist Christian. As I grew up in that church, I noticed a lot of unhealthy things, a lot of codependent relationships, a lot of abusive things, just emotionally and mentally damaging beliefs for people. So when I was a teenager, I started rebelling against it, and then I suddenly turned away. And I'm not really sure if I believe in God or not. I guess I'm an agnostic, but I have no idea. I'm excited to talk with like-minded people about some of our questions and concerns about this stuff.
My name is Curtis. Just recently graduated. I did grow up, my whole life in a Christian home. Got involved with Campus Crusade for Christ. I started just asking myself some of these questions, allowed myself really for the first time to doubt back to square one. Within a year or less, I was fine just calling myself an atheist. Just from what I know about it so far, it seems really interesting. I've been engaging in conversations and things like this, maybe even kind of hoping somebody can prove me wrong. If there's evidence out there, I would like to find it. And I think maybe that's kind of what intrigues me.
My name's Keith, and this is Brian and Karen, and we're our kind of facilitators today. Really what we're going to be doing is just asking questions, kind of spiritual questions, and talking about them. Brian, Karen, and I are just facilitators. We're not experts in this. In fact, we've never done this before. So this is a new experience for all of us. So let's just have an open mind here and try to have an honest, open discussion.
We're going to do some icebreaker questions just to get a little more idea of what people, who you are. Where did you go to school? You can either high school or college or graduate school, whatever you feel like sharing. And what did it teach you about life? So I went to college in a small town in Kansas, Hillsborough, Kansas. I guess small towns, you get to know people a lot better and know them at a deeper level, which sometimes is good and sometimes is bad. So that's my answer. So feel free to pop in wherever somebody wants to go next.
I went to school at Union University. It gave me a completely different perspective and how important it is to kind of know what you believe and who you are, and be intentional about it.
I'm currently going to school at Metro. I've become very much like a social activist because of my time there.
Well, I went to Colorado State University up in Fort Collins. I learned how to drink and smoke up there very well. I also learned, ironically enough, kind of internally that I wasn't a Christian. I found out that I was kind of inventing God to suit my life and personality and to be comfortable.
I went to CU Boulder, and I guess it kind of taught me a lot about the shadow of life, like what's behind, just the face value of everything. Mm-hmm. There are things that we know we don't know about, and then there's the things we don't know that we don't know about.
I went to school in New York City. What I learned there is we did a lot of traveling around the world, and you get to see a lot more cultures and experience a lot more things. So, it kind of brought more questions into my life.
Well, I went to school at San Diego State University, and I'd say the biggest thing about life that I learned there, outside of partying, so that's a party school, but is that other people have different opinions than me, and that's okay.
To go along with that, I've been all over the place. I went to Colorado Christian University for a year, and then I went to Red Rocks Community College, and now I'm going to Metro State University. Coming from a Christian university where all you really talk about is like Jesus and God, and then going to Red Rocks where I met a lot of cross-dressers and trans people and gay people, and it was kind of this culture shock, but at the same time it's kind of taught me to really love and accept people despite who they are and despite their differences.
Great.
To sort of get the dialogue going, there's one question that I want to ask. And again, in the spirit of what we've talked about, there's no right or wrong answer. There's no judgment here. If you could ask God one question and you knew that he would answer, what would you ask and why?
What's the meaning of it all? This existence. My understanding of the scripture is God was lonely, so he made stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is that really all there is to it?
I think I just came up with maybe the best question. I mean, unless you want to go.
No, you got the best question.
The best.
All right. If I was,
you got all of our attention.
This is the one.
I would ask God if he had to choose a religion, what in his mind is as close as humanity's come to understanding who God is.
Okay, I guess a little bit less profound than the best question of all of them. Why is there a hell? What's the point of that?
My question would be, if you are the one and only God, why are there other religions at all?
I would ask God, what is the relation between reason and himself?
So your question is, what is the difference between you and my own reasoning?
Well, or just the principles of reason.
Principles of it.
Because it seems like even God would have to obey those. Otherwise, there would be no reliability in God's nature.
My question would be about imperfection, I think. All these different religions, these different philosophies, these different cultures, we wage war on each other, we rape the environment, all these things. What's the point of that?
I'd probably ask God, why Is it so often that evil men prosper while good people tend to suffer?
My question kind of goes along with your question, God, why would you allow small children to suffer so greatly?
Jared kind of stole my question. I was gonna I would ask God why allow man to be fallen? And if God had a plan to have evil happen so he could bring his son about, why not just leave it as it was?
No, my question was interrupted by the most perfect question.
And then Brian
started it all.
And then Brian, that was my question. Was your question?
Why don't you articulate it the way you would articulate it?
If there's only one God, why is there so many different religions?
Yeah, I'm just fascinated. I love. Isn't it interesting hearing different people's questions? Thank you for your honesty in that. Keith, you want to take it from there?
Sure. I'm going to read something here a few times, and then I'd like you guys to think about it as I'm reading it, and then I'm going to ask if anyone has any. Ask what your reaction is to it. Okay. Get wisdom, get understanding. Do not forget my words or turn away from them. Do not forsake wisdom, and she will protect you. Love her, and she will watch over you. The beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom, though it cost all you have. Get understanding. Does anyone have any reaction, thoughts about what I just read?
Yeah, I'm really intrigued by that last line, though it cost all you have, get understanding. If that's trying to say, make as many mistakes as you want, as long as you learn something from it, or is it, actually encouraging some kind of self-destructive behavior?
Interesting.
It's interesting because that's similar, Curtis, to what I was thinking of when you go through life. It really, till you come to know something, you can have all the knowledge in the world. You can read all the books, but if you haven't experienced having a child and seeing what that moment looks like and what's involved with it, you can't explain it to anybody.
Yeah, you have to experience it for it to actually be wisdom. Otherwise, it's just like trivia knowledge.
Right.
And it costs.
It's not knowledge, it's wisdom.
Yeah.
Right.
Difference there, you have to understand.
What intrigues me by this is the part where it says, trust her and she will protect you, when we're talking about wisdom. And what's interesting about that is that later on it says, get it, though it costs you everything, as you guys are saying. So if it costs you everything, what's it protecting you from to trust in it?
I was kind of interested by the use of the pronoun she. Was that in reference to? So is this from the Bible scripture actually, or?
It's a proverb.
It's a proverb. Not coming across as like some kind of expert. I think it's important to realize that, yes, a lot of situations and experiences are shared, but they're not exactly the same. And everybody comes from a different experience, even though it looks similar. There's a Louis C.K. He's a comedian. He has a joke about how. Young people should respect their elders because even if they're wrong, their wrongness is rooted in more experience, more to back it up. So
we've screwed up more stuff.
Yeah. I think
Okay, so that's kind of a sample of what a Q place looks like. Just discussing questions. I know we didn't do a lot of discussing. Of where the answers go, but does anything surprise you about the meeting, or?
I think it was kind of nice that there were almost no answers and just questions. Like I said, it's just good to have a validation to have your question, to not have someone just be like, oh, the answer's simple, I can't believe I haven't thought of that. It's like, maybe I have thought about it and I'm just not satisfied with that answer, which is why it's still a question.
Oh, I think it's structured well. I think it's open discussion. It's a nice big room. We all see each other, and no one's judging anybody.
Personally, for me, I feel really comfortable here, just like being around so many other people who are in such a similar spot.
I had a good time. It was nice to get a whole different, varying amount of perspectives, and yeah, I felt very comfortable. I'm excited to get more into the, the really nitty gritty. I'm excited where we can go, the discussions we can have.
I thought it went really well. I was really pleased to kind of hear that, everyone else is kind of in the same boat that I am. So I'm really excited to kind of continue.
I like the kind of an even-handed open-mindedness here. Brian is key because I was very suspicious at first, and I think Brian is open to where the problem really lies.
I kind of went in having the expectation that we'd cover a little more topics than we covered in the time, and it was a lot shorter than I thought it would be. But overall, I think we touched on some pretty interesting topics. I mean, you guys made a good point to make us feel safe. I'm just honored to be part of the discussion, and I'm definitely excited to continue.
It was an enjoyable way to spend my Saturday. Good time discussing questions with like-minded people.
It was really interesting to get to know everybody. Everyone seems to be comfortable and honest with sharing. I'm excited to see how it's all going to play out.
I think the meeting went really well. It was a nice, open discussion, a lot of questions. So, I'm looking forward to the next few meetings.
I thought this was a really cool session. I didn't expect to really just kind of tackle so many of the deep questions. I'm really glad to have found a group that I can just ask any question I want without feeling, judged in that sense. It's really what I needed, I think. I'll definitely be back.
I would say for me, it went better than expected. I think we had a very open, honest conversation. I think everybody was respectful. Talking with a few of the people afterwards, that they really, really enjoyed this conversation.
I was very pleased. I think that people participated.
Yes.
There wasn't a lot of hesitancy. I was really impressed with how articulate, especially some of the younger people, were. How about you?
I was surprised by how many of them had been in a Christian faith of some sort growing up and had given that up as sad. Right. And so, in some ways I wonder if they had a format where they had been able to do this kind of questioning early on, if they would have still left the faith or...
It seemed very natural.
Well, yes, and I think I was surprised how quickly they opened up.
Yes.
I think that I thought it would take more meetings before people would open up, like some of them did. I was actually I was surprised that Roger, he was the atheist guy, liked it as much as he did.
Right.
Yeah, I think he seemed to like it more than just about anybody else.
Yeah.
Which is interesting when you think about it.
Right. Very interesting.
Yeah.
These people want this kind of forum, and they really valued the fact that we didn't give them an answer to their questions.
Yeah.
And in fact, at least one of the guys said that I value that you didn't give me the answer. It was really interesting for me to just see that there's a need for this. There really is a need.
And a receptiveness.
A desire for it, yeah. Well, on that note, and the guidance of the Holy Spirit, maybe we should pray for what happened in the trial meeting and what we will hope to happen at the next meeting. So, would you be willing to pray for that? Great.
Lord, glorious Father,